Welcome to the talk show Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. The goal of this show is to provide a learning experience to people of all ages, with guests from various fields in academics, a wide range of industries, and insight into the many forms of art, athletics, and entertainment. We hope you enjoy the show. Australia's Dylan Jett is today's guest. Dylan will talk about writing and performing songs, as well as how he balances his career with his education.
Welcome to another episode of Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. Our show is all about sharing the experiences of incredible people. We hope these stories resonate with you and even nudge you to make positive changes in your own life. Perhaps you know someone who could benefit from hearing today's story, someone who's facing challenges and needs a reminder that they're not alone in pursuing their dreams. Today's guest, Dylan Jett, has an incredible story about his experiences as a singer, songwriter, student, and more. And he's from Australia. Let's bring him on. Dylan Jett, welcome to Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a long time. You were on my other show, Lighting the Educational Flame, but that was 3 or 4 years ago. So long back, Dylan. The last time we spoke and you were on the show, we were in a major community lockdown. You more than us at the time, because you're in Australia during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, how did you cope?
Honestly, I coped with just writing music. There wasn't much else to do. I think at the time, you couldn't go 5 kilometers further from your home, or 1 kilometer. I think it was the strictest time. Couldn't leave the house. You could maybe go to the park for half an hour, but you had to be like alone or with a family member. Things were really, it's crazy looking back at that time because it almost doesn't feel real since it was like 3 or 4 years ago. Things well and truly eased up, have been for a while. But yeah, just writing music constantly. That was kind of how I just got through that. Kept my brain going.
Yeah, well, that's great that you had that ability to do that. Because writing, I mean, you could do that alone anyway, pandemic or not a pandemic. But it's amazing because you're young. You're in the college sector now, and you never in your lifetime. I would never think in your lifetime, my lifetime, we would live through a pandemic. So yeah. So now things have changed. You were in high school when we last spoke. So what was your transition from high school to college like?
For me, it was great because I'm doing a Bachelor of Music. So it's sort of, I'm really glad I'm doing the degree. You know, all my friends, my class, everything is music. And it's a whole different environment. But it's been a lot of fun going to more gigs than I've ever gone to before because every single one of my friends are in a band. So every night I'm in a different part of the city, just driving there just to watch them perform. But yeah, it's been really great.
That's amazing. And so in the United States, we have a lot of people when we go for a major, it'll be music or something. But they'll sometimes minor in psychology, sociology. Do we have a minor over there or is everything music?
So I'm doing a Bachelor of Music majoring in performance. I don't know what specific minor I'm doing because I've done a minor in songwriting. I did accounting as a subject and I've done a few other things. But from the Bachelor of Music, currently my plan is I've been interested in getting into music therapy, which would be a really cool path for me. So after my degree, I'm in the last year of my bachelor. I got to do a psychology diploma, which is a requirement for the master's degree of music therapy. So another 2 or 3 years I'll be studying. But
wow, that's outstanding. Some people, many people, myself included, they use music for therapy anyway. just as music itself, the fact that you're taking it to the next level, I think is phenomenal. So I remember once a long time ago, I had a student who was in high school and he was a very, very good singer. And then he was in college, we lost touch. I asked him to sing a song for someone for a retirement party. 3 or 4 years later, he was in college and the voice changed and now he was singing opera. What happens when you go to school and you really study it, things change. So how and in what ways has music, has writing and has even performing, more specifically music, how has that changed from 5 years ago when now you're really in the depths of it?
Going into a music university, it does sort of completely, first it changes your taste in music because I was opened up to things that I haven't really, I make more pop music, but then I fell in love with jazz and then I heard some bossa nova and some classical and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. And I've been doing a minor in songwriting actually for the whole time I've been in the Bachelor, and just learning different stuff from that. It's changed the way I write music. But yeah, I think I've gotten a lot better with songwriting, but it's sort of elements I've taken from different things that I've learned, whether it be in jazz or maybe punk or something else. And I feel like these things I've learned, I've honed in to pop. Like I've sort of just those writing styles and those little like different elements of different music. I end up implementing it all into my sort of style, no matter what genre it is. So, yeah.
Well, I think that's great because I was an educator, I think you remember, for over 30 years. And I love learning from other people. So not only are you learning from going to these other gigs and hearing and seeing other performers, but you're now in class. So I guess if you're in songwriting, so is the kid sitting next to you. You're in the same class. So now you're hearing and seeing how other people do their philosophy and how they set up their songs. So what has changed or what has been enhanced from you learning from others and others who have learned from you?
It's interesting. In my degree specifically, I'm one of the only people who are making pop music. Everyone else in my degree is doing like either like more rock, a lot of them doing indie, like that sort of style, which it's cool, but it's also refreshing. Like it's weird going to a school where like pop is not the most popular, or pop isn't that popular within those walls. So I think it's just different styles of writing. Also, I think I've gotten way more comfortable with certain types of writing. Like I think when I write, sometimes there's a formula to it. Like if it's a very pop song, I know that I want the hook to be at a certain time. I know I want it to be a certain length. And I think that has come a lot more naturally now. So I think when I write, even if I'm writing it within the parameters of a pop song, it still feels like a natural process for me. And I also think I can write a lot quicker now if I need to. I think there's been a few songs that I've released that we usually end up writing a song in under an hour, start to finish, and then recording it in the next hour, and then boom.
So, and how much performing have you done? I know it was during the lockdown, obviously it was none, but I remember you did quite a bit before then. So are you out there? Look, if your friends are in bands and you're seeing them, obviously they're seeing you, but have you been doing a good number of gigs in the past year or so?
Yeah. So I actually have two different things. So obviously Dylan Jett for my music, my more pop music and stuff. But I'm also in a band, Jasper Hill, with my brother and two of our friends. We originally made more like Green Day-ish punk rock, punk pop sort of music, but we have gotten into we've been working on some music that's more like stage rock and a bit more poppy. And for the last 4 years, I've been doing music with them a lot, like in terms of live performing. It's taken a while, but only recently I've started up doing a lot more Dylan Jett gigs.
Right.
Just, I don't know. It was a weird thing that I was kind of worried about, translating my music into live. Like, do I use in-ears? Is it just all the backing track and then I'm singing? I've done a few performances. I did one EP launch for my friend. I opened and I performed all of my songs, which was great. But recently, again, thanks to being at a music university, I've made tons of friends who are fantastic musicians. So now I'm starting up a band that's Dylan Jett, that we're going to be going around playing my music. I've done a few gigs so far. We did one for Melbourne. There's a fairly known venues or fairly known bars and venues and stuff. There's the SB, there's Northcote Social Club. We've done those gigs and yeah, it's been great. And we're looking to do a lot more.
That's great. I mean, you've done so much. It's so great that you have, and there's a lot of great artists who, for example, Gary Puckett in the Union Gap from 40, 50 years ago, he's still performing, but he performs on his own many times, then he performs with the band. So this is done many times, and that's really how you grow. It's not just when some bands break up that people go off, but there are a lot of people who stay with their bands and then do their own little offshoot. So I just love the whole learning. I love the concept that you branch off into different things. Well, let's talk about that branching off, because you were in a movie with Russell Crowe years and years ago as a child actor. And do you have any career plans with that? I know you always have so much going on, but do you want to revisit that acting? Is that acting bug hit you again?
100%. I definitely do want to revisit acting, and I think I'm going to soon. I've recently started doing auditions again. I after The Water Diviner, there was a phase there where I kind of stopped going for auditions, or it just didn't feel as right for me as I kind of fell into music. But I still love acting with all my heart, and yeah, I'm really excited to see where I go with acting, but I'm definitely going to keep at it. And no matter what, it's always going to be something that I might do on the side, whether it's a smaller gig or a bigger gig. It's just, no matter how it ends up, it's a passion, and it's still something I'm always going to do because I enjoy it.
Well, as if you weren't busy enough, I hope I got this right. I read somewhere you're into martial arts, correct?
Yeah.
Now, did you, I believe you hit the level of black belt?
Yeah, the junior, so that was when I was a bit younger. I still do. So when I was younger, I did karate for about 7 to 8 years, and I hit black belt. And then I think I got older, like I was turning like 17 or something, or becoming an adult, and they told me I'd have to go back to white belt because I was becoming an adult. And I was like, I've been doing this for a while. But I've fallen in love with other sort of stuff. I did Muay Thai for a year, and currently I'm really into boxing. I've been doing some training in boxing and stuff. But yeah, it's just one of my favorite forms with boxing, especially. It's kind of like, it's fun. It's kind of like a bit of an art form, and it's great cardio. I just feel like I want to keep healthy. I want to keep working out and stuff, but I want to do it in a fun way, in a practical way. I've also been, me and my friends have been going bouldering now all the time. So indoor rock climbing.
I was about to ask you what that is. So it sounds like it would be rock climbing, but I've never heard that term before.
Yeah. It's just a giant like warehouse looking space, and with a big mat on the ground, and then you just climb as high as you can. And that, it's like, it's fun. It's like functional strength, being able to like climb something that's like really difficult. Some of them, like you're lifting your whole body weight with just your fingers. Because there's like that much space on and just stuff like that has been, anytime I'm not doing music and stuff, it's good to, I don't know, it feels like a really healthy break for me.
Sure. I don't know if they have it in Australia, but you need to check out American Ninja Warrior, because those are the people that are always talking about grips and stuff. And I had Daniel Gill. Daniel Gill is a champion, and he was on the show. He was talking about the workouts, which are crazy. I mean, I look at all the apparatuses, and I think if I trained for 3 months, I still couldn't do one of them. Like, which one is easiest? So that's what I kind of see with you and your friends doing this. But I want to ask you a question and see if you answer it. Older people who are into the martial arts, certainly black belts I talk to, answer the question differently. People your age always answer us a certain way. So I want to see if it's a cultural thing from the States to the UK. So question, if I said to you, wow, you're a black belt in karate. So let me ask you a question. If you're in a bar one night and some big 250-pound college football guy comes in and he starts trouble with you, will you be able to knock him out? So let me hear your answer, and then I'll tell you what everybody answers.
Like probably not, in terms of if he's like a giant, there's not much, even all the knowledge, there's not much you can do. There is ways to use body weight, like someone's weight against them. But like, honestly, one thing they do teach in karate, or they did teach me, is like, it's good to know in the worst case scenario how to defend yourself, but you shouldn't be getting it. Like, the idea is, if you have the chance to run away, do that, because that's the safest route. If it was an actual like fight, I feel like I would slip into more of what I know from boxing than martial arts than anything. But Yeah, the goal is not to fight. I don't want to be going out in the street looking for a fight because I did a year or two of I did some classes, you know.
Yep, yep. Well, it's interesting because the answer usually is, even if they're black belts, is the guy really drunk? That's the edge.
Oh,
that I think they need. Because if he's swinging wildly and all this, he has to be really drunk, which I think is funny. But you say something that is so important. I do a lot of anti-bullying workshops in schools and even some in corporate. And when people hear the best thing to do is to run away, and a lot of people think, oh, that's being a punk, this and that. But I'm going to mention the name of someone I'm pretty sure you know. On a talk show long ago, a phenomenal karate expert named Chuck Norris said the best thing to do was run away. He said, I would run away if that would avoid the fight, I would do that first. And so that's really interesting, because the real point is to not fight, but if you know you can't, then to make it so you can defend yourself to the best of your ability. But there is and I'm sure you know this, there is a Dylan Jett theme to your life. And it really is passion. So you were into karate. You weren't doing the bouldering when last we spoke. So it looks like you're always looking to reinvent yourself. And it really is about growth. And quite honestly, that's kind of what my show is about. It's really about the story behind the glory and all these other things. So delving deep and you being able to share, by the way, is so much appreciated. So I want to ask you that I've also had the tutoring business great success for over 30 years. And the number one issue that college students have is not social, but it's reported as time management. 75% of all college students, even more in high school, talk about anxiety from things in school, but the academic end. Either they didn't learn properly or they're not really regimented. I mean, you're very regimented. I'm going to write the song in an hour, I'm going to record it in an hour, and then I'm going to, boom, it's ready and out to go there. So what struggles have you experienced? And you've achieved success, but it isn't all glitz and glamour. So what struggles have you experienced in your college life, both academically and socially?
Well, it's not just the college life. It's kind of everything. It's like there's moments where I am able to do stuff like that, where I'm working hard and I'm keeping busy. But I have ADHD, like quite moderate ADHD, which I've been on medication for a while, but it's still, it gets in the way of a lot of things. I really struggle with time management. And sometimes it just feels like everything at once, like I have 10 things to do at once. And then my reaction is I'm not doing any of this and I'll push it off when things get intense. And there is a bunch of anxiety behind that, because it just feels like there's a weight on you. And I don't think it's even as much as just the workload itself. It's more the pressure that it brings. Like you feel like there's these stakes that are over you, and yeah, it can get overwhelming. And yeah, I struggle with that a lot. And a lot of the times, which is never the right move, but a lot of the times it all feels like too much, and I'll just put stuff off and put it off and put it off until the last minute. And yeah, it's a struggle, but you always end up like just getting through it. There's time management is so important. It's every year I'm realizing more and more how important it is. But yeah, it's definitely a struggle.
Well, it's so interesting you say that. Have you heard, because I know you're studying psychology, have you ever heard the term executive function?
Yes, I've heard that recently, actually.
There's always buzzwords in education. I like to call it flavor of the month. I mean, this one's really here to stay because I've taught a lot of executive function, but I will tell you that I have a son who has ADD. I'm positive, I'm self-diagnosed that I have ADD, but back in the day, we're talking 50 or more years ago in school, it would just, oh, look how much energy that Mark has. And look at, but they don't realize that's what it was. But I've learned to harness that. But I have to tell you, when my son was diagnosed, we had a really good neurologist who said, listen, this country would not run if certain people with ADD HD did not exist. And so, the truth is, I'm not a doctor, but I don't think that you could do what you do as much as what you do and how well you do it if you didn't have that. That's what I really think.
Yeah.
I think it might be my superpower, and I think it might be your superpower too. But as you are learning now, because what happens is, you're right, it creates the stress, because when you put things off, two more things come in, and that just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And some people look at it and say, wow, I have a lot of work to do. And other people stress out, oh my God, look how much work I have to do. So I thank you so much for sharing that. That's going to resonate so much with the viewers. So when we talk about, you have your musical career, you have your friends, you have your student responsibility, and you have issues with ADD. So how do you manage your musical career with your student responsibilities?
It's sort of, first of all, you sometimes just have to prioritize. It's hard because sometimes you have a bunch of really good ideas. You want to get into songwriting, but you're like, I have an assessment due tonight and I have to get it done. And sometimes like that, you just have to make those decisions. But I don't know, for me, it is a slight positive that my degree revolves around music, and not all the time, but where I can, I like to kind of merge the two. So, for songwriting, if we're working on a song, sometimes I want to write a song that I would want to release, something that I'd be passionate about. Especially like collaborating with other artists, I've learned how to do that really well, which I think at the start, or at least when I last spoke with you, was a bit of a struggle, or something I was new with, because I was so used to writing music on my own.
Right.
But yeah, I think it is difficult. And for example, if you're doing a degree or studying something that doesn't reflect your, like, if you're doing music, but you're doing like an accounting degree, it's hard, but I've noticed when you're really passionate about something, it doesn't really feel like work as much. So I think if you really love music, you'll just naturally, I feel like, find the time, even when things feel like way more stressful than things should be. It just ends up happening for me. Even when I have assessments due and stuff like that, or I do a bunch of stuff that isn't necessarily music at the time, I come home and I'll be like, my piano's here. I sit down, I play a few chords, and then suddenly I have a song.
Yes, and plus you give yourself your own musical therapy. So
yeah,
you have that as well. So in the closing 1 or 2 minutes that we have, Dylan, walk us through the Dylan Jett timeline in your mind. Are you going to graduate in 6 months, year and a half? What's coming on after that? What are you looking to accomplish?
What am I looking to accomplish? That's the thing. It's difficult because obviously for my career, I'm hoping to keep upping the scale, releasing more music, hopefully growing a bigger platform and being able to do more with that. It is also just as much of a passion than it is just a career. So either way, I'm going to keep doing what I do, but the plan is to grow it. In terms of studying and my career path, I do love music therapy, or the idea of incorporating music into helping people and doing different gigs like that. So I'm going to keep studying, but while I'm studying, every second that I'm not studying, I'm going to be performing, I'm going to be recording, I'm going to be releasing music, I'm going to be out with my friends doing social media, which we have a bunch of. Recently, the other day, I got all my buddies and we spent the day just doing a bunch of like TikToks and different skits for my new song that happened, that came out not too long ago. So yeah, it's just something that, like, no matter what roadblocks are there, I'm just going to keep doing it because it's just what I do. And I love it.
That's great. And such words of wisdom from somebody so young, but just following your passion is just unbelievable. Just tell me really quickly the name of the newest song that came out.
My newest song that just came out not too long ago, it is Heart of Gold. On Spotify now, Dylan Jett, check it out. yeah, I wrote this song kind of a while ago, but I really love that it's finally out and we added a new style to it production wise. And yeah, check it out. Go listen to it.
Absolutely. In closing, Dylan Jett, thank you for being today's guest and sharing your impactful continuing journey with us. And a special thank you for all you do with that you're going to do in the future with helping people with the music therapy. For all the guests, for all the viewers watching, I hope Dylan's journey has shown you that following your passion is really essential in life. Remember, you have the power to make positive changes in your own life as well as the lives of others. So we love to hear from you. Stay connected with us on social media. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, and LinkedIn. Don't forget to like us and follow us for the latest episode, updates, and exciting new content. Dylan, thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. To contact Marc, email him at info@lifestorieswithmarchoberman.com or visit him on social media through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.